If you've been playing Squadrons for a while, I'm sure you've had moments like this where you kind of fly into the hull and then fling about in all directions and you're not really sure what's going on. That's the subject of today's video. In Tribes, and then later on Tribes 2, Tribes Ascend, there was a mechanic called skiing. Originally, when the devs made the game, they didn't even know it was there, but they liked it so much that they left it in for later versions. And it looks something like this. Basically, you'd hold down your jump button, I believe, and you'd sort of attach the environment as you went down, you'd maintain that momentum, you wouldn't take any damage, and you could kind of surf all the different hills, and it became this fantastic movement mechanic. Turns out, it's also in Squadrons. Let's start by having a really quick look at what skiing actually looks like in the game. I'm skiing along the bottom of the hull of the Star Destroyer. You can see I've got this kind of clinginess to the hull, but I'm not actually hitting it or taking any damage at all. But how do we actually do the skiing? Okay, it's really simple. All you need to do is hold down your drift key as you approach the hull, and then keep it held down. Don't let go of it. Whilst your drift key is held down, you kind of start this like static effect to the hull. You start clinging to the hull. And it's really weird. I don't know why it's like that. I can't explain the physics of it in the game. But yeah, just hold down your drift key and you'll be able to do it too. It is, of course, still possible to take damage, and you do need to be a little careful. I'd recommend going into the start of your ski at normal speed, and then once you're in the ski, it's pretty much safe to dead drift out and get up to top speed. Watch out, of course, for any obstacles like turrets that might be in your way, and use a sheriff bounce to make a small change to your direction to avoid hitting them. When I discovered this technique, my immediate temptation was to try and do it at full speed all the time, and inevitably I crashed a lot. I don't know what the skill ceiling is with this particular maneuvering, but I think it could be extremely high, and I'd be really interested to see what other people do with it as time progresses. What are the applications for skiing in Squadrons? Number 1, bombing runs. Being able to get below the angle of elevation for most of the turrets on the ship means that you are extremely hard to target, both from those turrets and of course anyone who's trying to follow you in a starfighter of their own. Once you get to the end of the hull, it's a simple matter to then flip around and go to the other side, again putting the Star Destroyer back between you and whoever is trying to chase you down. What can you ski off? Well, we've tried all sorts of things. Anything flat, so the Star Destroyer's hull being the best example, but also anything that is kind of like hill-shaped. If something is a valley, you tend to get caught up in it and it doesn't work so well and you can take a bit more damage. But anything that is slightly concave is really easy to ski over. In fact, it seems to fling you slightly as you crest the zenith of each hill. So we tested a few other things as well. We tried sticking ourselves to the hull of a raider. It doesn't really work. You kind of get this momentary pause as you press shift next to an object. So you sort of cling to it for just like a microsecond and then you'll just keep moving anyway. So if anyone can figure out how to do that, that would be awesome. I'd love to cling to the hull of a raider like a limpet and then disperse and go on an attack run. I also want to point out how useful this technique is if you know you're about to crash. If you hold down your drift key as you think you might be crashing, then you are less likely to take damage, and there is a possibility, if you're at the right angle, you will start skiing instead. So that is a super useful technique to learn, not just from a point of view of, oh, maybe I can do some cool bombing runs, but also just stop yourself crashing so much. If there's anything else you find out about this technique, please do get in touch with me, Ready and Prime. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you around again soon.